In June of 2020, I interviewed a woman who had been in the top 1% of Arbonne before walking away from it all. In that interview, we had to call her Jane Doe due to the emails she received from the company threatening litigation after she walked away. And you had a lot to say about it. To date, her interview is the second most watched video on my channel. Jane Doe, a woman we can now call Kiara, had promised she would come back and she would be able to finally show her face without fear in November of 2020. And when I recently reached out for a second interview, she told me her boyfriend of 4 years named Vincent also wanted to share his story and what he saw behind the scenes while she built her MLM empire. In the anti-MLM community, we mainly hear from ex-members, but as anyone who is in the MLM industry long enough knows, working as a distributor for an MLM seeps into every area of your life and affects your friends, family, young children, and adult children. In this interview with Jane Doe and her partner, you will hear his perspective of how the MLM industry affected their relationship, his thoughts from then and now, and how their relationship managed to survive the MLM industry, as many do not. If you haven't yet watched my first video with Jane Doe, I urge you to check it out as I go in depth on how Arbonne got their start in the 1980s. Arbonne is a health company that promotes skincare, protein supplements, makeup, and more. Arbonne was not super popular in the MLM industry until they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy around 2010 and rebranded as a hip, new company for millennials. Arbonne is known for their green logos and white parties that are invitation only. Joining a multi-level marketing company has consequences that can be dire. One's mental and emotional health, as well as their finances, can suffer. In this interview, Kiara and Vincent bravely share what they saw behind the scenes. Through speaking out, Kiara decided not to be the good girl, and Vincent decided not to be the good guy, our first one on this channel. This is their story, as told to me. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm really pumped for you to hear this interview today from Vincent and Kiara, and I'm so thankful that Vincent agreed to be interviewed. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor today is Alpha Juice, and I could not be more thankful to them for sponsoring this channel. Now, let me be very clear about something. I have a history of disordered eating. It is against my doctor's orders to abstain from any type of fasting or fads or cleanses where you don't eat, things like that, and that is not what this is. I have been juicing since probably around 2011. I love juicing. I love how it makes me feel, especially because I think that vegetables are disgusting. And I'm like a toddler. I don't want to just sit there and eat broccoli. So I like to get my nutrients through juicing. That is my personal opinion. I would never push a fad diet or anything like that on my subscribers, nor would I do that to myself because I just don't feel that's healthy. I add these juices into my daily intakes of food. So I have a juice when I first wake up because it's so fresh and it kind of just wakes me up and perks me up for the day. And then I have another juice usually around the afternoon, around like 4 p.m. when I start feeling tired. I'm a big fan of Alpha Juice. I love that this company is female owned and family operated, and they send these juices to my home in Missouri from Tampa, Florida. And these juices stay fresh like 5 to 6 days after I receive them and have them in my fridge. But the great thing about these juices is that they will also store in your freezer for up to 3 months. Alpha Juice has a website with a variety of different juices and juice packs to choose from. Use code JOSIE to take $10 off your entire order. This code expires January 30th of 2021. Be sure to check the first comment below this video for my favorite flavors from Alpha Juice and for more discount codes on special juice packs. Codes must be used separately. Thank you to everyone for understanding that these types of sponsorships keep this channel going, and I would not take on a sponsor that I haven't tried myself and am a fan of. Now, let's dive into the interview. I can't tell you how many people commented on our interview, the video about you leaving Arbonne, where you had to be all blurred out, and they were like, okay, it's November. Who is she? We want to know.
Yes, I know.
And I was like, I'm going to bring her back. It'll be in the new year. I'll bring her back, but calm down. So it's really exciting because I think your story spoke to so many people. And just like me having been in the top 1%, you were also in the top 1% and you walked away. And I think that speaks to people because they realize like, oh, these two made it and it still wasn't good, you
Yes,
know?
I sometimes feel like when you hear about MLMs, you don't really hear about people making it to the top. And when somebody comes out that was in the top 1%, every feeling that anybody has felt that has necessarily quote unquote failed in an MLM, it just becomes more real to know that it happened to us too. And it's not just them.
Exactly. And we don't name names on my channel or anything like that, but tell me, how was the reaction afterwards? Because I remember you said like there were some people who knew it was you, or like, what was your reaction? And sorry, Vincent, I'm sure she was like freaking out to you too
Yeah,
after that interview.
yeah, she was. Sorry though.
I remember when that video was live and I was just so nervous and terrified because throughout this whole experience, my vision was to never hurt anybody's feelings or to bash anybody. Like I truly just wanted it to come from a place of my heart. Like I just wanted to help people. And if I could just touch one person through that video, it would mean like I did something right. And so I was nervous, but at the end of the day, I knew that it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's how I felt too walking away, was because in one of my more recent videos, I mentioned that sure, it was hard to leave the money, but it was harder to leave the community and like all those friendships, you make and whatnot. Cause once you're out, you're like, they X you out.
You're exiled, basically.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, Vincent, thank you so much for being on tonight. Tell
So,
me, what made you want to come on with Kiara? Because I have been looking for a man to interview. I receive many emails from men, whether it's boyfriends, husbands, whoever, partners of people who are in an MLM, or they've been in an MLM with their partner. With their partner, and they are just so distraught about their wife or girlfriend or whoever, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, how do I get her out of this? It's causing havoc on our relationship. And every time I ask if they are willing to be interviewed, they just want to stay silent to keep the peace in their relationship. One man emailed me, and he actually got divorced. They were both in an MLM, and when he decided to leave, because he saw the facade of it all, she did not want to leave, and they ended up divorcing him. And his story was so heartbreaking, and I asked if he would be willing to be interviewed, and he said no, because they have two small kids, and he just doesn't want to rock the boat. So what was it that made you want to come on? Because I was really, really excited when she said you wanted to come on.
um, I I guess you're like what you said, just kind of like expressing the side of it from the male's perspective, because there were multiple opportunities where I got asked or told like, hey, you need to do this as well. But for me, it's like at the time when she started doing Arbonne, I was like really gung ho and focused on my career. And that's one of the real reasons why I kind of stayed away from the MLM, or Arbonne in general. There was a period where we did this other one called Kiara together, and I was very skeptical about it as well, just from the sense of like, I'm not very, not to say salesy, but I kind of like to work with my hands. And, with my career, that's all I do. So I'm on my hands and knees, hours and hours upon, throughout the day. And I just
So you're
felt like
not a flight attendant. What exactly do you do for your job?
I'm a baggage handler.
Oh,
So
cool. So yeah, you're very hands-on then.
yeah, so I'm the guy, whenever you see people loading bags in the aircraft, that's what I'm doing. I'm a belly guy. So I'll be in there slinging hundreds of bags throughout the day and just, constant, just keep going and going and going. And I mean, that's what I enjoy. I kind of found that career right out of high school, and I was
Oh.
very lucky for it. My career's taken me to a whole nother city now. And, you know, like I said, that's one thing that really, kind of pushed me away from the MLM because I just didn't want to get distracted from my career per se. Because I knew what I wanted and I knew what she wanted, but I didn't want that to like you said, conflict with our relationship. You know, it's kind of like, you know, she can do her own thing, I can do my thing, to where, you know, we're not butting heads by, okay, this isn't being done right or that's not being done right. Like, you know, just to prevent a lot of fighting from it all.
Right. And so you guys have been together 4 years, I believe you said, Kiara. And do you live together now or are you long distancing?
You want this one?
Sure. So we did live together for about a year. We decided that it was finally time to like take the next chapter in our relationship. We moved in together in this beautiful apartment, but he got an amazing opportunity to go and work in Austin for his dream career. And so I remember it was the hardest thing to just make a game plan and know that we were going to have to do long distance and it wasn't going to be a constant seeing of one another. So currently he's living in Austin, Texas, and I'm living here in Arlington, Texas. And when we do get to see each other, it's small. We get to see each other probably like 4 times a month, maybe if we're lucky enough. But when we do, it's incredible. So the fact that right now, it's just, this is like, this is awesome.
I actually caught a flight at 12:30 and just flew to fly up here and do this. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, you guys are so cute. I love it. So when you guys, I believe, Kiara, you said that you guys got together when you were about 3 weeks into Arbonne?
Yes.
Correct? And so were you living together? No, you probably weren't living together right then.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. So I actually met Vincent in high school. So we were I was a sophomore, baby sophomore. He was a junior. And we met each other and it just wasn't the right time. We were just 2 completely different people, was not the right time. We reconnected after, I think, for my perspective, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I guess he just saw that I just had the initiative to work on myself. And even though we parted ways in high school, he reached out to me like a lot of times actually. And he was like, hey, I'm so proud of you. And back then I was like, I don't want to talk to any boys. I just want to focus on myself. And I think he saw when I qualified for the 2nd level of management. And that's when he was like, you're doing an incredible job. And we just became friends. And 6 months after that, we started dating. And so he saw me at the very beginning of my Arbonne journey. And so, yeah, he was a big part of that.
Wow. That's very interesting. I am not I was in MLM for almost 6 years and I dated 2 different guys during that time. One I had been with for a few years before my first MLM and then another one during. And so it's not really like I can just reach out and like ask them how it went, you know, that would be a little awkward. But my husband saw me probably in like my last 6 or 9 months or so of like phasing out of an MLM. Because I always say when people leave an MLM, it's a slow burn. It doesn't usually just happen instantly because you've built a strong community with people. You've been indoctrinated into the whole industry. So Vincent, did you notice from the time, well, especially since you knew her in high school too, and obviously people change as we grow and become adults, but did you notice any type of change in her from when you guys first started dating and she was new in the MLM, was that your first time in the MLM world at all?
Yes.
Okay. So I remember my first time and my first few months in it, actually the first 2 years, I was so happy. I was so excited about it. I was delusional, but I was drinking the Kool-Aid. And so my personality didn't change much, except I just got happier and I worked more. And it was after that things started changing. So how would you say her personality was in the beginning when you guys got together and she was just starting in the MLM to like the peak when she was like at the top of it?
I guess when we first got together, like I remember this, like the first time we actually went out like on a date, right?
Oh no.
She pulls out this little packet and I'm sitting there like, all right, cool, you know, whatever it is, I don't know, it is what it is. And then the waitress we had, she looked at it, saw it, and she was selling the product in front of me on our first date. So she was like very, you know, she was happy to sell the product. She was, you know, you could tell in her eyes like this makes her happy, you know. And so I would say like the first year into dating, that's all the relationship really was just, you know, if I'm not working, we're doing Arbonne stuff. If, you know, she's busy, she's doing her own Arbonne stuff. Like I said, I'm doing my own, but it was just, when I get home from work, she's up on her phone Arbonne till like 2 or 3 in the morning. It's Arbonne, 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 Arbonne. So she was, really happy because it was taking up a lot of her time. And, she's the kind of woman that loves to, be busy, be active, and not just sit around all day. So it really helped her out a lot. But like you said, like going towards like to the tippy top, shoot, when was it? Like when we would say like kind of like the fall off started?
Probably after April of GTC.
So last April, right?
I think so. I think that's 2018 or 19, not sure.
Probably 19, yeah. Yeah, I would say around that time, like whenever they went to like the usual big global conference, because that was, I guess, the last time you did anything for Arbonne, like, where you flew out or whatnot. And I just remember like the going there was the easy part, but it was coming back. There was a lot of conflict and drama that happened in just one night. And from there, like when she came back, you could just tell she was upset. Like she wasn't really happy. And over time, it was, kind of like a roller coaster. She had her ups and downs. And yeah, I would say after like last April, everything, small hills, just everything just kind of just went down from there.
What happened that night, Kiara?
So,
I remember.
Was it when I won my award, or was it the last one?
The last one. That whenever you guys got
okay. Yes, I remember.
Stuck in the airport for 24 hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
So being that a global training conference, I think that was just the peak of anybody who is in any MLM. That's your time to shine, your time to create FOMO. Like that is your time to basically sell your MLM. And I remember
and let me interrupt you. I apologize because I got so many people who were like commenting in our first video and they were like, stop interrupting her. And I'm like, hold up. She's using terms that only MLM people know. I want to elaborate. So everyone knows what FOMO means for the most part, fear of missing out. But what she's talking about selling it is when you're at these conferences, you're supposed to be taking pictures nonstop. You're supposed to be taking video nonstop. And then you're supposed to be posting it on social media all the time as a recruitment tactic. And it's exhausting. So sorry, that's what I was going with that. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I love it.
Can I make a point to that real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I only was able to go to one of those GTC events, and that was when she won her award for being, I believe it was like the second out of like everybody in Arbonne, at recruiting. So it was a really big deal for her. I flew out the day of, just hopped on a flight to Vegas, was able to make it. And you're right, like everywhere we went, no matter if it was just to go to the pool, just to walk around, the MGM, everybody stopped her. And not saying it wasn't annoying, because, it's like, this is my first time in Vegas. I just want to, try to spend a little time with you, even though I know it's like, it's an important event. You have things that you have to do. I'll gladly sit in the hotel room and just wait. But, when there are times like I want to hang out with you, or like, can we like go look at the strip or something like that,
Oh,
looking good.
Awesome. Okay, so where were we? What was
so Vincent was talking about how he just wanted to like relax, or it's his first time in Vegas, wanted to go chill on the strip. Oh yeah, Vincent, you don't get to relax at these events. Oh no.
Yeah, I learned that pretty fast. And I mean, it was really cool to like see the production value in all of it, but I guess like for me over time, I kind of fell into like the brainwash a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Of like, okay, I get it. This is, you can make money off this, because this is before I actually figured out what went on behind the scenes, because when you go to these events, they throw it at your face all the time. Like, you're number one, you're going to be the best, you're this, you're that. And it's not until, I guess somebody like Kiara, will just tell you the truth. Like, look, this is what's going on. Like, what you see, it's a lie. It's not the truth. It's just like I said, a brainwash tactic. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I fell into it. And it wasn't until, like I said, that the second GTC she went to, where I kind of started noticing, like, the train just go down the hill, and just realized, okay, this maybe isn't what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always say, like, I wish I hadn't wasted all that time in the MLM industry. because I feel like I wasted the end of my 20s, very beginning of my 30s. But at the same time, if I hadn't done it then, I probably would have done it down the road when I was older, because their marketing is very good. And like at those events, there's a reason they tell you to have your phone out and your camera nonstop, because they do put tons of money into those events and they look glamorous. They look larger than life. But I mean, yeah, it's like,
I got one more point, because we were supposed to actually go to that white party,
oh,
but
that thing is so tacky.
so yeah, we were supposed to go to that, but like I said, with the whole airline thing, we have the ability to fly for free and whatnot, and I can see everything that goes on with the flights. We weren't going to get out the next day. We were going to be stuck in Vegas ourselves for over 24 hours. So I told her, like, look, I'm sorry, but we have to go tonight. Like,
Yes.
so we missed that event, and after learning and hearing about it, I'm kind of like, didn't really miss much. But I guess it's just like I said, when you're in the brainwash and seeing things like that, you always want to be a part of it.
Can I interject in what you say? So to me, it's not so much that he was brainwashed. It's just the fact that anything that I do, he supports 100%. And so the fact that I was just so excited and, always doing something, and the fact that I was put on a pedestal, he was very shocked. Like, oh my God, you're doing the thing and you're doing such a great job. So I feel like more so he was very supportive, and anything that I did made him happy. But from the question that you asked, you said, how was it?
Well, what happened that night that when he started noticing everything go down at the last time you went to the convention?
Gotcha. So I remember that day specifically, like from morning to like when I went to bed. So when you are in when you are in that event, all you want to do is take pictures and create that, like we said, that FOMO. And I remember just being so overwhelmed that I felt like I had to make everyone around me happy. And I literally, truly was worrying about everybody else that I forgot to worry about myself. And when I get stressed, the first person I turn to is Vincent. And he's like the first person that I just go ahead and vent to. And I was so stressed because prior to this event, there was just so many, I'm not going to say drama, but it was just like miscommunication from a lot of people. And I feel like when you're a leader, you never want to see your leader be upset. They always say blessings go down, conflicts go up. So you always want to tell your upline when you're like upset, and you always want to tell your downline everything is perfect. So my team basically thought that I was a walking perfect human. And it was so hard to ever just like show actual human feelings. And it wasn't until that night where
That's a cult tactic, by the way, to silence and not let the lower levels know, because the lower levels want to get higher. That's used in every cult.
Can I make a point about that real quick?
Yeah.
There was actually a group of people.
Talk a little bit louder if you don't mind.
There was a group of people that we actually created a friendship with that was more than just Arbonne. And so once, I guess, Kiara started losing the love for Arbonne, that's when we started to lose the friendship, because, she would kind of stop focusing on them for Arbonne and try to just, find, stragglers and find whatever she could do to just kind of, bring herself back up to that, to the top. But in the process of doing that, like I said, the friendship just went down and down and down to the point where, they don't even like us anymore.
So these people were in Arbonne?
Yes.
So a thing about me, I noticed early on that a lot of the leaders that I saw in Arbonne, they only created friendships to show online. And it was just an online friendship. And it was just when the camera's there, take a picture and be happy. And after it's done, like walk away. For me, for some reason, I just felt like I needed to give my full attention to everybody on my team. And I wanted to have a friendship outside of Arbonne. And I wanted to let them know, like, you are not just a number to me, you're an actual human being. So everybody on my team, and that's I feel like it's a trait that backlashed on me, because I would put so much love into everybody that I could possibly touch, that if they saw a smidget of me doing something wrong, they immediately gave me backlash. And it hurt me in the end, because everybody that I tried to love found some way or some reason to just find something to like pick on about their leader and their friend. And I feel like they could never find the difference between like when is working Kiara and when is friend Kiara. So a lot of bridges were burnt because I wasn't able to truly authentically show myself without having a fear of being judged or being watched or being talked about behind my back. And it was just, I feel like it was very toxic, because I wasn't ever able to truly share my heart as a friend and then my heart as a leader. It was very hard to take out a leader hat, friend hat.
And that's done by design. There's a, in all cults, and there's a very toxic relationship between an upline and his or her downline, because you're constantly told to take care of your team, to be there for your team, to be that leader that leads from the front and paves the way and is always there and will be there to talk them through the hard times and be there to dream with them and ask them their biggest visions and goals. But then you're also told, oh, if anything goes wrong at all, it's your fault because you're a 1099 contractor and it's your business. But yet they're telling you to develop these dependent relationships on each other to help build the business and build this huge community. And it's completely contradictory. And you're right, it's very, very toxic. And in all cults, whether they're commercial cults like MLMs or religious cults or political cults, whatever, they use that black and white thinking. So as soon as somebody decides to leave, you're just, oh, well, she left, she doesn't have the vision anymore, or she doesn't want to work hard anymore.
And I remember I would always tell Vincent that. Sorry, I'm just so excited. I remember I would tell Vincent that, like, when anybody would leave, I'd be like, they just don't see the vision. I don't understand why they don't really see how beautiful Arbonne is. But looking back, it's like, it is so toxic. Like, it's not the fact that they didn't see the vision. It's a simple fact that they were chasing something that was never going to be reached.
Yeah, it was very one-sided too. Like, there were several instances where people on her team went to her upline and talked badly about her behind her back, and then the upline made her feel worthless. Like, it's your fault that these people feel this way, without actually getting both sides of the story.
And it's like, I'm only one person. I can't, like, divide myself into 60 people. Like, I need to, I'm not perfect.
That's part of what I think people don't realize as you move up through the ranks. Because yes, you might be earning more money, but the pressure that is put on you with these contradictory messages and then like the backstabbing and whatnot, it's not pretty. It's very ugly behind the scenes. And then even if you get to see the CEO's behavior, and with us in the MLMs I was in, we were given tactics to use on our partner, whether that was like my last MLM I was in, the CEO and her right-hand woman would be on stage and they would say, men need food, sex, or money. If you can't give them one, give him the other two and he'll be happy. He'll shut up. He'll let you do your business. And then we were also taught to say things like, oh, this is our business. When talking with your husband or partner or whoever, it's our business. You don't use words like me, I, whatever, because then he's going to feel even like less included and you want him to feel included. And really it's just, you're trying to manipulate your partner so that you can work 24/7 and not have them say anything.
I completely agree. Sorry, you can go. Sorry.
Well, I mean, with the whole, like, working 24 hours, that I would stay out of her hair by spending so much time at the airport, just working and doing, my thing, like I said before, so that she can focus completely on Arbonne. And I mean, I personally never felt really any like manipulation tactics. Like, I willingly would get off work, rush, change, take a quick shower, take her to an Arbonne event.
You would also call me out when it was too much.
Yeah, I did.
How would you? And I'll say, a lot of times people don't know it's manipulation tactics, because like when I heard those things, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is how I get my partner on board, because I was excited for what I was doing and I wanted to get him on board. But looking back in hindsight, I'm like, oh, they say these things to manipulate you and to manipulate those around you. So when would you call her out? I want to know.
Oh, shoot.
Can I just tell you what my upline would tell me to tell you?
Oh, go ahead.
So there would be some times where Vincent and I would always have Monday date nights, and like Monday was our day to just have a date night. And every Monday happened to have a team night call with the whole entire team. And I remember there'd be so many times where we'd be on a date night and I'd be like, wait, I need to listen first. And then we can like have dinner together.
Oh, that made me so annoying.
And I remember he would always like tell me how he would feel like, can we just have 5 minutes without the A word, please, just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember I would tell my upline, like, I just really want to do better for my team. And what do I do? She would always tell me to tell Vincent, I am working so hard, so one day we don't have to work hard. And I'm building this business, so one day you don't have to work as hard as you're working right now. And for me, that was my true mission. My true mission was to work so dang hard in, my early 20s that whenever I turned 30, that it would be like vacation time for the rest of our lives. And that was my vision. But I feel like it was a lot of manipulation, because even though he supported me, I know deep down that he just felt like he was left out or in the dust because I wasn't giving him the proper time that I should have early in our relationship.
And
Absolutely.
like back as she was saying, where like they would tell you like, for the future. I laid out the law like right away too. I was like, look, this is you, this isn't me. Like, even if I've tell this all the time, even if I won the lottery tomorrow, whether it's 10 million, 10 billion, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna work my normal job because I want to, not because I have to.
Right.
I picked my career field because that's what I love to do. Because I know there's some people out there that just have a job to have a job until they find something they love. And I found something I loved at such a young age. Whether she's doing an MLM now or whether it's, well, not now, obviously, but like,
No.
but like, well, back, okay, how about I put it? Like at the time, if that's what she wanted for her life, and we had this crazy, lifestyle, whatever, I was still going to work my job because that's what made me happy and that's what I love. And like she said, that's what the upline told her to say. I just was honest with it. Like, whatever, no matter what you do, it's not going to take me away from what I love. Like, I want to be able to contribute myself and not just sit around and be lazy. Like, I that's just me. That's just who I am.
And it sounds, when you hear them say, like, you just need to work, because they always say short-term sacrifices for long-term gain. They repeat that over and over and over. And when you see, it sounds stupid to think like, why would anybody expect to just be able to like work real hard and then earn enough for the rest of their lives to live off of? But when you're in it, it doesn't sound stupid, because you constantly see images and videos from the very top, like 0.01%, who are showing their luxury lifestyles, what every influencer online dreams to be. And you're told you can have this if you just work really, really hard right now and sacrifice that time with your family. It's going to pay off for them down the future. And it doesn't. And what people don't realize is that those uplines showing their lavish lifestyles and acting like they have all this time freedom are miserable behind the scenes.
Yes, because the higher you get up in an MLM, the more people you are in charge of. Well, not necessarily in charge, but the more people you have influence over. And it's so hard to just always pretend to be happy all the time when behind the scenes it's just so draining, and it's mentally exhausting. It's exhausting physically. It's all around exhausting, because that is your 24/7 job. You're working online. You're serving others. You have to have a clientele. You have to always be on your phone. You have to always post. And it's like, it's so much, because it's like you're working 24/7 that you truly don't have time freedom. That is the time. That is your life.
Yes. And I found, like, it's funny because now I don't even have Facebook or Instagram. Like, I deactivated them several months ago, and it's like so freeing. But back then I was on my phone. My phone was in my face like nonstop all the time. And the hard thing is, because a lot of people who don't like these types of videos, who don't like the anti-MLM community, will say like, oh, so what if you're the CEO of a large corporation, you're going to be over a lot of people, you're going to be managing them, yada yada. It's not the same, because there is zero work-life balance in an MLM. That's why they're called commercial cults. Like, it seeps into every single boundary you had and it annihilates it. And that's why Vincent, you said she was up working to like 2 or 3 every night on Arbonne, because there is no balance and they want you to sacrifice that time with friends and family. What did you start thinking, Vincent, when there were those nights that she was working till 2 or 3 a.m. and you're probably laying in bed alone? Or what was going through your head, and how long had she been into where you were like, I'm kind of over this?
I would kind of say when we moved in together, because we, like I said, I would see her every day. And a lot of the time, honestly, I would probably only see maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour a day during the week because of my work schedule. And, we would try, because my days off at the time, like Monday, Tuesday, we would try to, make time for both us and our families and, stuff like that. But I lost the question. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. When was it that what would you think when she's up to like 2 or 3 a.m. and you're in bed? Like, what was going through your head during those times when she wouldn't come to bed with you?
I mean, like I said, back to like trying to like like I said, the little time that we saw, it was very frustrating and very annoying because it's like, like she said earlier, give me that 5 minutes. That's all that I want. I'm not asking you to just drop everything, give me the world right now. Just like 5 minutes. Hey, how you doing? How was your day? Cool. Hey, guess what? I'm going to go to bed because I got to be up in like a couple hours, do what you got to do. But it was hardly ever that. It was just like, hey, nice to see you. Hey, have a good night. Bye. And for a while, it did bother me a lot. Like, and I was a little afraid to tell her that because I felt like I'm going to crush her dream, when she's trying to support me in mine. And I'm trying to be a supportive one, but it's like, the balance of a relationship when you're so high up in an MLM is very difficult. If you're just starting out, you're talking to maybe 1, 2, 3 people, you can still spend time with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever because you're not really doing much. Mm-hmm. But when you're so high up, taking an hour off, in their minds, you're losing $10,000 right there. Like for me, if I took the day off, it's not a big deal. Like just pick up a shift, make that money back up easily. But for them, for one day they're off, they have to find 20 people just to make up whatever income that they miss for missing out on one day.
I remember my upline telling me, she was like, take how much you make and then divide that and find out how much your business is worth per hour. Because every hour you're not working, that's how much you're losing.
And I remember when he would tell me those things, like, just give me some time. It's not that I didn't want to give him that time. It was just the anxiety that I knew that my phone was going off on the
it's horrible. You know that if you take an hour off, you're going to come back to like 50 messages.
Yes, and that's literally every day when I would wake up, messages. And I truly would feel bad because I knew my upline would never text me back. She would take 3 days to answer a simple question that I had answered in about 30 minutes. And it really hurt me that when I needed her the most, she was never there. She was only there if a camera was there. She was only there if I won my bonus. She was only there when I walked the stage. Like, she was only there for the highlight reel.
Or like the negative things, like I said earlier, with people going behind backs and then bringing it to her attention. Oh, you're such a bad person because you did X, Y, and Z.
And it was very manipulating on her end because she would be like, I built you and I taught you how to be independent. My job is to love you, but my job is to help other people. And my thing was that I saw the neglect that she gave me, so I never wanted to neglect anybody on my team.
Yeah.
And I saw the pain that it caused me, that I didn't even have an upline. Basically, I built it by myself, that I promised that I would never do that to anybody else. And that's why I felt like for so long, I felt like I spread myself so thin because I was trying to, be with my boyfriend and spend time with him. But I could never, because I knew in the back of my head, my phone is blowing up and somebody's going to get mad at me if I'm not texting the back within 5 seconds.
And did you notice, Vincent, that everything, when she was in the MLM and when you guys were together, everything around you just felt rushed?
Yeah. Like there were several times where I'd get off of work in the morning and she's like, hey, we have to be somewhere like in an hour. Like, you need to get home, shower, change, drive over here, rush. I would be zooming through the highways like 100 miles an hour. Honestly, like I would do that, because I knew how important this was. And if she was late by like a minute, boom, the sale's gone because you have a person sitting here like, waiting for you. Mm-hmm. So it was very
He's so sweet. Towards the end, I would just tell him there's an event at this and he'd be like, hey, got it. I'm on my way home. Be ready and let's go. And so he knew how important it was to me because even if it was like a big event, leaders had to show up super early and we had to set the scene and we had to be an example. And so I always felt the pressure of being there an hour before the event started to just be that example. And so anytime there was an event towards the end, he wasn't even questioning it because he was like, I know the drill. I know we have to get there early. So for him, he would rush to get to these events.
And it's hard because no spouse or partner wants to shut down something that's, prop their partner up on this pedestal and is also bringing them in money, but something just that they're so excited about, to be that spouse or partner that's like, hey, I don't think this is good for us. That's never going to go well in any relationship. So of course, a lot of the partners and whatnot try to support their partner, but it's still extremely draining on the relationship because nothing is ever enough in an MLM.
It was, because I play like slow pitch softball. At the time I played on Mondays, and just an hour out of the week, just 1 hour, focus on me while I'm, doing something that I love, which is, baseball and softball. I've been playing it my whole life, and I would look, in the stands. I just see her texting away, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, you literally just missed something that I did. Like, not saying like,
I'd be like, good job, honey.
It's not like a once in a lifetime thing. Oh, it's a home run or whatever, but it's like, acknowledge it a little bit.
And
please.
I can see that now, like looking back. Yeah, I do realize that. And it's a realization like that was a lot of time that I missed out on. And that's not time that you can make back. It really isn't. And even now that we're long distance, I'm like, dang, I had so much time back then to actually enjoy the relationship that now that I can't really see you 24/7, it's hard because you just look back and you're like, that time I lost, it could have been time that we could have spent together.
And I hear that all the time about people with kids. They're like, I missed my child's first year of school. I don't even remember it because I was so absent-minded and I was so busy all the time.
I'm not going to act like, me working so much didn't take away from time. Like I said, I felt like if I wasn't at work, I was a burden on her because I was like, hey, I'm here, acknowledge me. And
well, because you were, to be honest, because in an MLM, it doesn't matter who's around you. If they're taking any time of your attention away from helping other people with the business opportunity, it's a burden, and it's so sad because you shouldn't be looking at your family members or your loved ones like that.
Yeah. And I know for him, even though he worked a lot, he could clock in and clock out. Whenever he clocked out, even if he was clocked out for like 3 or 4 hours, he was clocked out. For me, I was never clocked out. And I remember so many times I'd be like, I just have time freedom. I sit on my phone all the time. And it's like, no, there's no time freedom.
There's none.
There's no.
Yeah.
And what did you notice, Vincent, when she decided to leave and walk away? And like when she got out? I know when I left, I felt like a shell of the person I was for a very long time. My self-esteem was shattered. I just was depressed. It was so incredibly hard, especially losing all that community. What did you notice in her when you would see her? Like, was she different? Was she down or was she happy? How was it?
At first, it was kind of like mixed feelings and mixed emotions because at the time of her leaving, like I said before, she was going into like another business venture, we'll say.
Oh, right.
Business venture. So she was very skeptical, very on and off, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not? So there were nights where we'd stay up very late talking about this, like, am I doing the right thing? And I'd always tell her, like, look, I could tell you anything and everything in the world, but what it comes down to is what you want. I can't force you to do this. Only you can force yourself to do it if you want to. And so that's what kind of made her think like, okay, I'm going to try this other thing, but try to do it in a way that's so indiscreet that nobody would notice that I left. And so
that didn't work.
not saying the way she executed it was the smartest, but within 5 minutes of it, just phones lights up, like
everyone knew.
Everybody in the community, big or small, was like, are you serious? Are you really doing this right now? Like, you're going to throw away all this that you've worked for just to do this that you're going to fail in? And so
they were mad because you were leaving Arbonne to go to another company?
Yeah, they literally attacked her for weeks.
I was at a point where, being in Arbonne drained me so much that I knew that I was good at working online. I knew that I was good with connecting with other people. So in my mindset, I thought, well, what if instead of, completely quitting working online, why don't I move my focus into something different? If I built something here, I can do it again. Super easy. Connect with people. I love it. And I remember just feeling so scared of the jump and just so scared of like, I'm going to disappoint so many people. And within 5 minutes, I remember sitting at my mother-in-law's and just phone blowing up. And I literally just had an anxiety attack because I was like, I'm disappointing so many people. But there's like a line of like, your mental health is worth way more than somebody else's paycheck that you're making them.
Yeah, her mental health, like in general, was just on a rapid decline. Like, there were lots of panic attacks, lots of just, upset moments. Like, you could just see it and tell it in her face.
You guys have a ghost.
I don't know. Yeah, just like a lot of, just like I said, panic attacks. And it wasn't until a month after, she was a little bit happier trying this new venture, but she gave that a month or two.
It was because I realized that it wasn't the company, it was the tactic itself. And I saw the complete repetition yet again. And within my first month, I was going up as fast as I was going up there, but I was like, I don't see my heart here. I don't see my heart working here anymore. And I left before I could feel the panic. I left before the anxiety built up again. I left before I, made Vincent feel like he was abandoned yet again. And I saw all the signs coming up. I saw the repetition, and I said, I'm going to stop right here. Like, this is not healthy. And that's when I decided to altogether just decide
quit.
to just do my own thing and, find something that really lit me up, that at the end was, right for me, not right for somebody else.
Right. And when she left the entire industry, how was she, Vincent?
I want to say the 6 months prior to what she was at the time was like 1,000% a completely different person. Like, she would wake up happy. She would be like, okay, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do that because I can, and nobody's telling me what I can and can't do. Like, she was literally the happiest I've ever seen her. Like I said, like, we've known each other for what's going on almost 8 years now. And even in high school, she wasn't this happy. She was happy, of course, but like, as in being like an adult versus you are as a child, like, she felt the freedom to just kind of like wake up every day and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that because I can, because I'm not forced to do it. And, I've like, that was a real big uptick that kind of, started both of us finding out, what more we want in life.
A lot of growth.
And, like, now she's starting to go down her career path. I'm going down mine. So like,
we're in a good place.
We're in a really good place.
And that's good that you were so like instantly like able to get back together. For me, it felt like at least a solid year and a half, if not 2 years. Like, I just probably now more recently feel like normal again and like excited to wake up and do things and whatnot. But it was so hard for so long. How did you guide her decision in any way to leave the MLM industry, or was she just like, I'm done, or what? How did that come about?
I think it was kind of her own doing. Obviously, she would ask for my opinion, and I would always say, unfortunately, like, you can ask me, but don't expect me to kind of tell you what to do, right? Because it's not my decision,
And you're like, I'm not having that backfire on me.
No, not at all. Like,
how many times I would be like, just please, like, give me your input. He'd be like, no, if you feel like it's right to do this decision, you go with your heart. And I'd be like, I don't want to hear that. I want you to be like, yes, like, or no, don't do this. And so
I'm just very honest, and it's,
he never decides anything for me. It's always me that has to make the final decision. So I think for me, it just felt like such a big weight was lifted off of my shoulders. I would wake up in the morning and I would see 0 messages, and I'd be so happy. And I'd be like, nobody cares about me, which is a good thing. Like, nobody's bothering me. This is so good. Like,
it's literally so nice, isn't it? Like, to just be off the grid. You're like, I'm free.
Yeah. And now, like, the only person I text is him and my mom. And so it's like, for the first time in 3 years, I'm not worrying about social media. I haven't posted on social media in a very long time, like my whole feed. And it's like, life is not about social media. You can enjoy your life behind the scenes and not post about every little thing that you're doing.
Yeah, because now all her posts are, like she said, what makes her happy. And it's not like, okay, I have to post this so I can get somebody to buy this, or post a picture of me and this person together so they can see how great my life is. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of content building in MLMs. Yeah. It's like 1 post about MLM, 3 about your life. So if you go through my Instagram, you could be like, oh, MLM, oh, 3 life, oh, MLM, 3 life. And it was like a pattern that was like constant.
I did that same content strategy, but it was 2 posts about my life, 1 about the MLM, then 2 posts about my life, then 1 about the MLM. And it was constant. It was nonstop. So you're always thinking like, okay, what's my next content going to be? Or like my next photo op, or how am I going to make this situation into a post, a story? It was so draining. And now that I'm like gone from it all and I don't even have social media anymore, which I don't feel social media is bad, but I feel like I exploited my life on social media, and I fully regret that because it just
once I got out, I just felt so overexposed. Did
Yes.
you feel like that social media where she was constantly have to post content, do you feel that affected your guys' relationship or exploited it in any way, Vincent?
A little bit, yeah, because I'm a very private person and I don't really like throwing my relationship out there.
He's very private.
Yeah, I really, I mean, this is probably,
I'll post like twice a year.
yeah, I think last,
Yeah.
for this year, I think I've only
That's
posted
okay.
4 times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just not, I personally, I'm just not a social media guy. I'm not at all. I'll look at it, I have it, it's there. But I will say, yeah, I did feel a little exploited because there were times where, like,
People knew you. Too.
Well, I know people knew who I was, but I don't personally care for that. Like,
right.
I'm just like, I guess some of it was just like, okay, for the photo, because I know it's to help boost her sales at the time, but I don't know.
Yeah, there'd be so many times
That's
where I would be like, oh, this is a pretty place to take a picture. Take a picture of me. He literally was it's to the point where he learned how to work angles.
Oh yeah. The partners know all the angles, but if your person is in an MLM, absolutely.
Yeah, I learned that a lot. I mean, I still use it now sometimes,
Yeah, which is great.
But of course, it's for stuff that makes her happy. Like if she's like hanging out with friends, just take some pictures, boom, boom, get all the angles you can, compared to like, okay, I want this one picture so that I can get X amount of sales. Like,
yeah, and so much engagement and likes and yada yada. It's nice getting to take a picture and just enjoying it, and not even having to like post it or whatever. Like, it's just so freeing. How is your guys' relationship now compared to the time when you were in the MLM?
It's very different. I think obviously the biggest change now is the fact that obviously I don't live here in North Texas anymore, and I live in Central Texas now. I mean, it's only a 3-hour drive, but it's still, I don't get to see her every day. And if I want to, I have to either drive or fly up there. But we are in a whole lot better place in our relationship. Not a lot of, frustrating moments per se. A lot more happier times now. I can say that, probably after this call, I can go have dinner with her and be happy and not have to worry about, hey, I have a phone call I have to take in the middle of our dinner.
Yeah.
We can just go out, just do whatever we want and have no repercussions. So I'm a lot happier now, with her being out of it. I know she's probably 1,000 times happier than I am, but all in all, our relationship's pretty damn solid.
I feel like right now I'm trying to get in a better mindset of I don't have to make up the time that I lost. And I feel like that's, when I left an MLM, I was like, well, I have to make up all of that time now to, create memories that I wasn't able to create and be with him when I wasn't able to be with him. And so I feel like that's my part where I'm learning right now that, we can enjoy each other's time without feeling like we have to make up for all the time that we did lose. And so our relationship right now, even though we don't get to see each other a lot, it's incredible how we literally put our phones down when we're together. Like, I know after this, I'm not even going to be on my phone until probably I have to go to bed. That's such a great feeling.
It's a lot different. Like she was saying, there's a difference between not spending time together in the MLM and like our situation right now. Like, yeah, we may be far away, but we don't feel like
it's more relaxed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed. Like, I don't have to pressure her to be like, spend time with me. It's just like, we can talk and just be happy to when, like I said before, I feel like I have to pressure her to talk to me just for 5 minutes. And now it's just like that 5 minutes turns in a couple hours and, we're rock solid. We're happy.
That's fantastic. Kiara, what did you learn or how did you feel after coming out with your story, even though you were blurred and people couldn't see your face? I remember getting texts from you and you were so afraid and scared still because it's so hard. But once everything, like the dust had kind of settled, how did you feel about coming out about your story? Talk to me about that.
It was funny because as soon as that video came out, I wasn't really getting any messages. So I was like, oh my God, okay, good. Like people, other people are watching it, other people I know. But then within like a month, I was getting random messages that I had to like accept and random friend requests. And they were like, oh my God, this is you in this video. And all I could do was just like their message. And I couldn't message them back. And I just felt like they knew that it was me, even though my face was blurred, pictures were blurred, and people knew that it was me. So I was terrified. And then I knew that my past uplines had seen it. So I knew that it was getting around fast.
Yeah, she threatened you, or she threatened you through another source that she was going to bring a lawsuit about, right?
I remember that I messaged you and I was like, is this actually real? Can she really do this? And I was scared, but I knew that throughout it all, something good was going to come out of it. And so many people would message me, and I have so many screenshots that I would send Vincent, like girls would send me like, because of you, I left. And because of your story, everything clicked. And because of you, I'm leaving Arbonne. And because of you, I'm leaving this MLM. And every time that I would get any of those messages, it made me feel so happy that my story was able to touch somebody else, for them to wake up from that dream that they were indoctrinated from their upline.
Yeah.
So it felt incredible to share a little bit of my story, but the fact that I get to share my whole face and to share me, it's such a great, I feel like it's just a great feeling. I'm not weighed down anymore. Like I can finally say, this is me. This is what happened.
And it's still happening now. Like, heck, a week ago, she sent me a text saying, look, these 3 people are telling me how thankful they are that they stumbled upon this video. Like, you know, a lot of people, they really are afraid, because these MLMs, they will try to throw the lawsuit hammer right at you just to keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's obviously, it's scare tactics, but, you know, to find the little loopholes until you can actually publicly speak about it, you know, makes it, how you say,
what, it's freeing that I
yeah,
can
it's it's like real lot freeing that you can think, thank you. It's freeing that you can talk about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because before, it's like I felt before the pandemic started, because I hadn't come out of the anti-MLM closet yet. And I felt like I was holding this huge weight on my chest every day, because I just wanted to run out and warn the world. Like, I wanted to warn people to stay away from these, because I know what it did to me and my self-esteem and everything, my life when I left. And I just wanted to like shout it from the rooftops.
You can give that back to like the people messaging her. She still gets people messaging her saying, you will be perfect for this company.
Oh yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I've had to hold myself back so many times. I'm like, that's not how you connect with people, but you know what? You do you. I'm just going to erase your message.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no point in arguing with the cult mindset.
There's been so many messages. I probably get them like once a week, and they message me like, hey, I like your picture, and thank you. Hey, you'd be great at this. And I'm like, your comment was not genuine. Just bye.
Never.
Yeah, there were a couple of times I tell them, like, just be honest and say it. Like,
no,
leave
it's
me
not,
alone,
it's
please.
not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Oh my goodness. What did you, in closing, what was it, Kiara, that you, they made you sign a contract, but you didn't sign this contract until like you were leaving. Is that correct?
So I remember when I left Arbonne, and from a downline of mine, she told me that my upline, you know, set up a big Zoom with all of my direct downlines. And basically it hurt because I realized that she was spreading so many lies about me. And within 2 days, I got an email from Arbonne themselves. And that's the email that really freaked me out, because I felt like, because I was leaving Arbonne, I thought that I could share my story. And I was ready to, you know, find a way to like do it humble and nice and not step on anybody's toes. But when I got that email, it almost, you know, they almost made me feel so terrified that I couldn't share any of my story. And it freaked me out so much. And I was like, well, I can't really tell the world just yet, but one day I'll be able to tell the world. And I remember since that day, I was just like counting down the days, like when my year comes, I'm going to tell people the truth and tell people facts and tell people my story, and they can make their decision after they hear my story.
And so did they were they like, okay, Kiara, you already signed a contract when you joined with Arbonne, or you signed one as you got bigger with Arbonne, or were they like, here's this contract, you need to sign it now?
So they didn't really have me sign a contract. It was more like a threat. I don't know. I think I still have the email, but from memory, in a nutshell, all they said was, because you have been in Arbonne for 3 years and being somebody that everybody knows, if you continue to further speak out about Arbonne, legal action will then be done. And that freaked me out because I was like, well, they basically took one of my amendments away. I don't have the freedom of speech.
So it probably was in the original contract that you signed when you just joined and you buy your first product. Like,
and that's the thing, like, people don't read it. They're just
people
like,
don't realize,
and they like sign it. So my fault. Like, you need to do your research when
well,
you
but at the same time, people don't realize what they're getting into, because I just interviewed an attorney who was in the documentary Betting on Zero. And he said these contracts should not be legal. People do not understand what they're signing up for, because they can even say when you leave, you can know, like, we own everybody in your social media friends list because you've marketed to them about our product, and now they're considered our contacts.
Wow, and that's crazy because before I left Arbonne, I remember when I was flown out to their corporate office, and everyone who was flown out, I was one of them, they said, yeah, we've been watching your social media closely. We've been like seeing how engaged you are with people. And looking back, I'm like, that's scary that you have been looking at my social media for about 3 months and you're seeing exactly how I work. That's actually scary now to think about that they were watching me. So they were probably watching me too when I left, watching me. And that's why I was even scared to post about when I went to go work out. Like, I was terrified to post about anything.
It's scary. It is absolutely scary. And that's what I saw when I got to the top 1% and peeked behind the curtain. I would see distributors leave to go to another company, and bam, the old company would sue them. And like, these CEOs who were looked at as like God and supposed to be so nice and so kind were monsters and so vicious. It was hell. It was absolutely hell. So with the contract, with the email, did they say you can't speak out until November of 2020, or how did November come into it?
So I remember when they sent me that email, I immediately screenshotted it and I sent it to a friend. And he's very intelligent. He does a lot of work. He works with people closely. And he did a lot of research. And he was like, no, that's not actually how it works. After a year, they can't really tell you what to do. And he just told me, you know what, I know you really want to share your story, but to be on the safe side, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but to be on the safe side, wait a year. And after your year reaches, you can share your story. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to drop names and I want to be as respectful as possible. But he said, you can share your story after a year. And when that year comes, they no longer can be able to throw any legal action at you after a year.
That was smart. Yeah, because they do go after the top earners when they leave. It's very, very scary. What would you say to anybody now who is watching you and who might be like having doubts or on their way out or wants to leave but is scared of losing that community? Because you've been out how long now?
A year and like 4 or 5 months.
Okay, and so what would you say to them, you know, about like how your life is now and how it's changed? And I mean, just what would you say to somebody who's in that position?
I would just basically say, you know, the feelings that you're having right now, the doubt that you're having right now, it's not the doubt because you're afraid of you're not good enough for an MLM, or it's not the doubt that you feel like you're not a good enough leader. Listen to the feelings that you have. Talk to your partners, talk to your family, talk to people who are not in your MLM, because they have a lens that you don't have and they have a vision that you're not seeing. And really, truly, like, look for the support that you have around you that is not in your MLM. And if the decision is weighing down on a relationship, or if the decision is really, truly hurting your mental health, your physical health, any type of health, literally listen to yourself and get out of there. And it doesn't matter if you make anybody mad, because at the end of the day, if they love you, they're going to understand. And if they really care about you, they're going to let you leave with ease. And you're going to see who your true friends are when you leave your MLM. And you're going to see exactly, you know, who has your back and who doesn't have your back. And so if you're just feeling this way, listen to it, you know, pray about it, talk to your loved ones. And at the end of the day, life goes on. My life has gone on way better. I'm doing such an incredible, my mindset is just so different, and my mental health is different now. And so you're going to be fine. I promise, girl. You're fine.
And Vincent, what would you say to the spouse or partner who is witnessing their loved one in an MLM and who feels stressed about their relationship, who feels stressed about the nonstop hustle and that ripple effect that it has into their life, and they're just like trying to bide their time, but they're also worried about the relationship? What would you say to that spouse or that partner?
Honesty is a big thing. You know, if you feel like you have to hide your feelings and hide your emotions, you're kind of just leading yourself out the door, because you need to be able to look at your partner, whoever it is, you know, and just be honest and say, hey, I feel like this could possibly be affecting us in a negative manner, you know, and kind of let them see it and make the choice for themselves. Like, what's more important to me? Is my relationship more important or this job? You know, and communication's a big factor. Like I said, if you feel like you can't say something, you're just leading yourself out the door. You have to be able to just look at your person and just talk to them about it. You know, don't let your feelings go unheard. And you know, I guess that was a big thing for me, was just to be able to like express myself towards the end and just let her know, like, you know, you're not for the relationship's sake, but for your own sake. You know, like we've been talking about, mental health was a big thing, was a big part of it other than the relationship. And it's like, you know, you don't want to see your significant other go down a dark path because they feel like they're not living up to the standard that they're supposed to be living to, that these MLM, you know, make it out to be.
Right.
You know, you just kind of, you know, need to help them come down to earth and just realize, like, hey, you're just a person like the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, and I love and care about you, and I want nothing but the best for you. But I personally don't believe that this is the right thing for you. You know,
Did you feel like you were walking on eggshells?
a lot. A lot. You know, it sucked, you know, but looking back at it, you know, I'm just glad that phase of life is over. You know, we've moved on to a lot of other things, and, you know, we're not really walking on eggshells anymore.
And now it seems like you guys are a lot stronger. And I mean, if y'all's relationship can handle an MLM, you can handle anything. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much, you two. I will let y'all go eat dinner with mama. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, we're so, you know, honored to get to share our story and our side. And I'm actually really happy for, if any MLM boyfriend is out there, husband, spouse, you know, he was there.
Yeah,
all the time.
you're not the only one, man. Trust me, I understand how you feel.
Yeah. But again, thank you so much. And
Yeah,
we
real,
hope
thank
that
you.
our story could just touch one person. And if it does, that's all we ask for.
Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.